Designer Garden is proudly brought to you by Wonder and Effecto.
Welcome to a brand new series of Designer Garden. I'm Andre Bimre. In this series, we have exciting new garden designs lined up for you. We're working with the new garden design team, Abacus Gardens. We'll be introducing them to you later. In this episode, we're working in a family home, cluster environment, fairly established garden. Let me show you around. There are a few clues that there is a toddler in the family, probably a little boy. Now, the garden has already been designed really for adults, so fairly symmetrical, square beds, nicely planted up though. The lawn needs a bit of attention, but the homeowners dug this makeshift sand pit in the meantime. But you know what, that gives me a whole lot of new ideas. But before I decide anything, let's go and meet Karen, the homeowner, and have a chat to Tim, our landscape designer. In this series of Designer Garden, the landscape design and the implementation is going to be handled by Abacus Gardens. And today we're joined by Tim, who's the creative director at Abacus. Welcome.
Thank you, Andre.
Well, good to have you on board, man.
It's great to be part of the team.
Well, we get straight into it. And today's garden design, we're talking to Karen, who's the homeowner of this lovely home. And you have a very specific brief for us.
I do. We had our garden landscaped about 2-3 years ago, and it is fairly well established. But I have a 2.5-year-old son now who needs a bit of a play area in the garden, and I was hoping to create some sort of kiddies garden for him that he could play in.
How old is he?
He is nearly 2.5.
So that's the terrible two sides. That's the ball of energy side, isn't it?
A ball of energy indeed, yes.
Excellent. So Tim, how are you going to approach this?
Well, Karen, Kiddies Garden, very exciting project. What exactly do you have in mind when you say Kiddies Garden?
Well, I want a one-of-a-kind thing, something unique, definitely with a jungle gym of sorts, but not the typical wooden jungle gym. I want something really unique and maybe a bit contemporary and upmarket that's going to fit in with our garden theme in the house. And I'd like to create a bit of an adventure, fantasy sort of garden for him to play in.
Tim, is this a challenge for you?
Well, we just love challenges, and we can do something really unique here for Karen.
Yeah, you can let your imagination go absolutely wild. Yeah. Will you allow us that?
For sure.
Okay.
And what are your thoughts about losing lawn space? Because at the moment you don't have an enormous garden, but obviously we're going to cut away from the lawn.
No more place to play ball.
No more place to play ball. What are your thoughts?
There's a little bit of a concern. We do have another grass area, but as long as he's free to be able to run through the beddings, I know it might be difficult, maybe create pathways through the bushes, something like that.
Okay, well, we have some awesome ideas that we're going to present to you about the garden, areas that he can make into his own little kiddies garden rooms, and I think you're going to just love what we come up with.
Excellent. So we're now going to leave, and you're going back to the design studio, and I'll meet you there.
Absolutely. We're going to go back to the design studio, put pen to paper, and come up with some ideas for the
Excellent.
garden.
After the chat about what Karen wants, the Abacus Gardens design team get a working plan ready. The team gets stuck into this project, creating mood boards and drawing a detailed plan for this kiddies garden. This part of the process is important, as it's our first look at how everything falls into place. Andre then stops by to see what they've come up with.
Tim, this is a very interesting project. Karen said, design a garden for my child. I need a garden to keep a 2-year-old ball of energy happy for a couple of hours. What have you come up with?
Yeah, very exciting project for us, Andre. It's a kids garden. Not often a client say, design us a kids garden. And we've used Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Alice in Wonderland as our inspiration.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, these are animated films, animated books, and we've decided to take elements from it to create a lot of eye candy and a lot of entertainment for the little boy.
And of course, you can be creative as you like. So, I mean, you've got things that looks like dinosaur paths or dinosaur bones. What are these?
Well, this is a stepping stone pathway that leads through the garden, and in fact it meanders in such a manner that it really creates a bit of an adventure pathway for little Luke to walk along.
Okay. And this big structure, what is that?
This is a jungle gym that we've created for him. It's a double-story jungle gym with all sorts of slides and climbing ropes
it's covered.
attached. It is covered. You know, it's Johannesburg, very warm summer temperatures, and if Luke wants to play, we want him covered in the shade.
Excellent. And of course, I see you've got a little suspension bridge, and you have lots of interesting bits and pieces in there.
Yes, it's a hideaway for him. You know, it's a place that he can go and play, and you know, we really want a sign at the entrance here which says no adults. You know, so this is a kid's haven. There's lots of rooms within the garden for him to play with, and you know, it's his little space.
Now, obviously, one has got to be careful with your choice of planting. What sort of ideas are you going to use there?
Well, we've been very focused on choosing plants that are kids, you know, friendly.
Absolutely.
So
Tactile,
no thorns,
fragrance.
Yeah, no thorns, no poison.
Absolutely.
Tactile, fragrant. We've done a little veggie garden that he can go and play.
Oh, that's
in.
gorgeous.
Lots of color, of course. Kids love color. So this is really Disneyland in the garden.
This sounds great. Listen, I think this is a wonderful plan. I think Karen's going to be really happy with this. Our next step, we're going to see you on site, and we're going to do this.
Absolutely. We're excited.
Cool, man.
Let's go.
Lovely. Let's go.
After the break, the team get their hands dirty in the garden, and Andre's in for a shock.
Tim, what have you done to this lawn, dude? It's terrible.
Welcome back to Design a Garden. It's gardening time as the team arrive with some of their plants and start offloading the truck. Tim has chosen lots of grasses and taller flowering plants to make this a real instant garden. The plants chosen are hardy and will withstand the playing of a young child, so they can be picked and walked through.
Well, the Abacus guys have delivered the plants to the site, and I'd like to take you through the reasoning as to why we've used some of these plants in our Kiddies garden design. Firstly, we've got this Crocus Mia here on my left. It's also known as Falling Stars. I absolutely love this plant. If you do it in mass, it's quite striking. These orange sunset colored flowers in full bloom, especially in the early parts of the year between February and March, they look absolutely spectacular. I've also used the Gara. The Gara is also known as the butterfly bush. And the great thing with both these plants is they've got a very petite, tiny flower. And I like that because I think it's ideally suited for a kiddie's garden. In addition to that, we've also chosen the salvia. It's quite a unique one. And as you can tell, it's got a burgundy purple colored flower. And that's quite striking and unique. The common one, of course, is the red salvia. So lots of flowering plants intended for the kiddie's garden, lots of contrast and a lot of eye candy for them to enjoy as they play in the garden. We've also chosen plants that aren't poisonous. There's no thorns on the plants and they're all really very child friendly. So we're very excited about this kiddie's garden. We believe it's going to transpire into something that little Luke is going to absolutely love, and we're ready to go for it. So come join me in the garden.
The team starts off by removing the toys the little boy Luke has left lying around, and then they mark out where the garden edge will be, and begin by bringing in the major pre-assembled parts of the jungle gym that will be our focal point. Pre-assembling off-site isn't something that Abacus Gardens generally do, but they want this garden to be an instant success. After marking out the bed spaces, the team remove all of the existing lawn altogether. When creating beds, it's crucial that you remove all of your lawn and grass shoots, as they'll keep growing back into your flower beds.
Tim, what have you done to this lawn, dude? It's terrible.
Andre, this is all part of the plan.
Okay.
Step number one was always to remove the existing lawn and to create a space that we could do the kiddies garden in.
As long as there's a plan, but this jungle gym is impressive.
Thank you, yes. I think that the jungle gym, again, was as per Karen's specification.
Yep.
She was quite specific. Don't give me a jungle gym that's run of the mill.
And she didn't want logs.
She didn't want logs, she didn't want gum poles.
Yep.
So in this instance, we've gone for Moranti, but this is really the early stages. There's a lot more that you're going to see.
Is there more to
here.
come?
Lots more to come.
Excellent. And of course, you're clearing this out because this is going to be a flower bed, right?
That's right. The garden previously was just the plants that you see in the back there. And the idea here is to create an area where the jungle gym looks like it's always been there, always
Okay.
part of the space.
All right. Okay, so the planting is going to happen when? Right now?
Well, we just have to wait. We have to wait for the hard landscaping to finish.
Okay.
And as soon as they're finished or near complete, we can start with the softer, more tender plants.
Well, I've got a suggestion. Let's get out of the way so these guys can finish doing this job here.
Great, let's go.
Cool.
As the building rages on, the guys lay down the pavers for the meandering pathway. Constructing the new jungle gym is a mammoth task and requires care and attention to detail. And sanding gives a splinter-free environment. Karen didn't want a run-of-the-mill jungle gym constructed from logs and poles, so the team are giving her something spectacular. Made using Malaysian Meranti wood, this multi-roomed double-story structure will give Luke hours of fun. While some of the guys are building, the others are breaking ground for the cocos palms. These holes need to be deep enough to allow the root system to grow effectively.
Okay, Andre, the first thing we do is we plant the large structural plants, and in this instance, it's the cocos palms.
Okay.
We've dug the holes for the cocos palms, but we'd really
You
like
worked hard, but
we'd really like something that encourages root growth.
okay.
What do you recommend we use?
Whenever we plant, we generally use two products. Firstly, you need superphosphates, and then you need something that's well balanced that will give the plant a good start. Now, in this case, we're going to do organic fertilizer.
That's great.
So, for the phosphates, we're going to be using a bone meal, and we're using this product from Wonder today, which is bone meal is organic.
Yeah.
Okay. It's made from, as the name says, made from bones. Can you believe it? Now, when you're using organic, you also use a higher dosage than any of the normal fertilizers. So in this case, the bag will tell you how much to use. See how clever they are.
So, Andre, most homeowners find fertilizer quite a bit of a challenge. You know, how much do they use? Do they put it at the bottom of the hole? Do they put it at the top? Do they mix it into the soil? Help us out here.
In short sentences.
Can you keep it short?
Yeah, absolutely. Read the back of the packet. It will tell you exactly how much to use. The only fertilizer that's preferable to use at planting right at the bottom is phosphates, so that it's immediately available. Also, when you're using the general fertilizer, when you're planting, you want to have it incorporated into the plant, because remember, the plant's going to a bit of transplant shock. You want nutrients available immediately to give that plant the best chance ever. And that's what we're going to be doing, Sire. The best chance ever. We're using bone meal from Wonder. We're using about 80 grams on a square meter. Since you've dug a round hole, that's very difficult to measure, so we'll have to go on cubes. Okay, but a couple of very nice, big, generous handfuls. This is not going to burn because it is bones after all. Then we're going to be using organic pellet fertilizer from Wonder. Well composted chicken manure. In this case, we're using about 150 grams, again, per square meter. Okay.
And would
Makes
you
sense?
recommend using both of them at the same time?
Yes. Again, particularly because you're establishing a new area. Once you've got plants established, you can just use the well balanced, because this will have some phosphates in it as well.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Let's get this
Excellent.
garden going.
Let's give it some food.
Andre and Tim start by putting fertilizer in the hole and on the soil that will be used around the cocos palm.
Yeah, brother, these palms won't struggle. You'll find them very happy to be alive.
Remember, when planting plants from a nursery, continue the good foundation started there. So carry on using their plant nutrition recipe to sustain the life of your plants. Then it's time for the stronger guys in the team to plant this big palm tree. The cocos palm is a resilient plant. It can tolerate drought, frosts of -4 degrees, and shallow soils. You can grow it indoors and out. It grows to a height of around 12 meters, and it's known for its bunches of orange-yellow fruits.
Tim, this magnificent jungle gym is finished.
Yeah, very excited about it.
Your
Andre.
team have done a magic job here.
Yeah, I tell you, it has come out and way surpassed our hopes on it.
Absolutely. It looks very good. There's lots to do in there.
Absolutely. Little Luke is going to love it. Lots of places to hide, lots of places to play.
Absolutely. Now tell me, this is a thing that's puzzling me. We started this path in a completely different way, and you've changed it.
You know, it has changed. You're absolutely right, Andre, and that's largely due to the homeowner saying, listen,
Okay.
yeah, I loved your plan, but as you've been laying it out, I'd just like to have a bit more of a formal nature added to it.
And you've got to keep the homeowner happy.
we've got to keep the homeowner happy. After all, they've got to live with us. They've got to enjoy it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Now, the next thing you're going to do the planting. Is that all that's really needs to be done?
That's right. We've prepared the soil. Lots of good compost has gone into the soil. You can see the dark, rich nature of it, and it's quite
Very
a
much so.
clay soil. So you'll find that the compost helps to break down that clay
That
content.
clay content, yeah, because it looks quite heavy. Well, we better get out of the way so your team can get us planting.
Yeah, they're ready to
And
get going.
Cool stuff, man.
The planting of the smaller plants can now begin. The team has worked hard to condition the soil using lots of compost and Wonder organic pellet fertilizer, which promotes healthy plant growth and stimulates microbial activity in the soil. The striking orange crocosmias are key to the design aspects of this garden. Tim wants an instant wow factor in this space, so the team are planting them closely together to create a densely planted area. Fragrant plants are also used in the form of rosemary. And then the fun elements, like this slide, get added.
Hey, so the slide ends right into this little patch here.
It does, and you know what I love about the slide, Andre? It's really one of my favorite things about this garden is that on this slide, when the kids come down the slide, they land in a soft,
Onto this fragrant.
exactly, on a soft patch of mentha. And you know, mentha's got that very strong peppermint smell, and it's a soft landing A and B. And you can just imagine as they come down, they land with their bums right in the mentha, and they crush it, and then you've got that smell that just wafts up
So
to them.
mom won't complain too much.
Exactly.
The Crocosmia falling stars is a magnificent specimen of color. They're drought hardy and make good cut flowers, and the plants are useful in a shrub garden, a border or a cut flower garden. They need full sun or partial shade or humusy, moist but well-drained soil. These are tough plants and they're easy to grow.
I found these at the local garden centre, and I thought they would be great for the kiddies garden. They're very colourful, and they also add a bit of human side to animals, and I just love their look. They're a bit far-sightish, and they're kind of marching in unison through the garden, and yeah, just love the look of them. Thought they'd be great for the kiddies garden, and I think Luke is going to absolutely love them.
The mad rush to finish the planting is on. The rest of the filler plants are being planted and the area's really taking shape as the guys work hard to get done. The finer points are being added, with small toy-like features hidden around the garden for Luke to find and play with.
Tim, this is an interesting plant collection.
Yeah, very interesting one.
I recognize this one.
Yeah, we all grew up with these, isn't it? It's your little Venus flytrap.
Absolutely.
Leaves, closed down, triggered by motion. Great plant because it's carnivorous, and every little boy wants to have one because they want to watch those insects get trapped and
A bit of
eat
a sadistic streak there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we've also got a sundew plant and a pitcher plant, and they're very similar to the Venus flytrap in that they're also carnivorous. Your sundew plant is great because the insects actually get stuck to it, and you can see it there.
That must be the original sticky fly trap.
Exactly. And then you've got your pitcher plant, which is also quite unique because they've got these long tubular stems, and on top the leaf actually closes down to trap the insect
Yeah.
inside.
Okay.
So I mean, it's quite unique there. And this is a kiddie's paradise. Every little boy
Absolutely.
wants one. And although we've chosen a lot of plants for the garden that are petite and small for kids, I feel these are particularly well suited for children.
And location, lots of strong light.
Absolutely, they like lots of light.
Okay. And big thing, don't fertilize.
They don't like to be fertilized.
Because they feed
Rainwater is good
themselves.
too. You should catch your rainwater and water these with rainwater.
Excellent.
After the break, Tim finishes the garden and Andre talks us through the finer details.
Tim, I tell you what, you guys have pulled off a fantastic project here. This looks magnificent, man.
Andre, thank you, man. This has been such an exciting project for us to work on. It's been great being a kid again.
Absolutely. Lots of detail, lots of color.
I love it. You know, there's been so much eye candy to put into the garden for the kids to enjoy, from the ducks marching in unison to the little worm going in and out of the ground, the rabbits. I love the fish that swim through the plants.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I want to be a kid again.
Absolutely. Real clever stuff. Now, you've got a surprise for the homeowner.
We do have a surprise for Karen. We at Abacus would like to give the family a free garden maintenance service for the next 3 months, which will fully support the growing of the garden. And as you know, every garden needs a lot of love
Absolutely.
and care.
Well, from Effecto's side, to help you do that, we'll throw in a couple of products as well. From Wonder, we'll give you some organic fertilizer, the stuff that we use to get this going. And then from Effecto, there's a basket of products which they can use to spray preventatively. Like this, for example, this is Effecto's Eco Natural Insecticide. And you can use this as a preventative spray, as well as spraying when you see bugs.
That'll be great. This garden is going to love that treatment.
Absolutely. But I'll see you on the next project.
Excellent.
Look
Love this
forward
one.
to it, man. Tim and the Abacus team have created a real little wonderland here. There's such a lot of detail to keep the interest of children. I think Luke's going to really enjoy this. You've got a bird feeder attracting birds, which creates its own little interest. Then, of course, all the activities in terms of the jungle gym, the stairs, the ropes, the slide, lots of things to keep them excited. And in the planting, of course, you've got texture, you've got color, there's fragrance in the rosemary over there, for example. Color was quite an important aspect of this garden. So the gardens used a lot of color, both in the flowers, like in this very pink fuchsias, but also in the foliage of the different plants. And then, of course, there's added little interest, like this little doggy pot plant stand with this bright dianthus in them. There's lots of other color in terms of the little interesting items used, like the chickens crossing the road, you know, the little gnomes and that kind of thing. Then one other element that Tim really wanted to bring across was to make the garden look as if it had been established a long time ago. So they brought in really well-established palms, really huge plants, and that worked really well. This garden has turned out to be exactly the little wonderland that it was intended to be. Let's fetch Luke and his mom Karen and see what they think about it. Karen, and this is your garden. What do you think?
You have done an awesome job. I'm so thrilled. Look at it, my boy.
The team have really done a magnificent job.
And
haven't
look
they?
at pretty.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the detail. Let's walk through.
Yes.
You obviously seem to
What
like
if-
it, eh? Hey, look.
Look at that. Look at all the chickens.
Little chickens running across the road. Of course,
Wow, look at
there's
that.
fragrance in terms of the lemon
And what's
trees.
that?
Lovely sand pit.
What's that?
Look at your sand.
What's that? That's a worm.
What's that?
All the way through the garden. You catch it.
And look, there's little kitty cat pot plants. They're so cute.
Kitty cat.
Yes.
kitty
Let's go
cat.
have a look at the other side. There's some more detail over
Wow,
there.
this is amazing.
Amazing.
Of course, over here you've got the slide, the planting, you've got all the color,
Come
the
look.
little dianthus.
Look, it's a big fish. Lost. Got you.
Karen, this has been such a fun garden to work on. I hope you're really going to enjoy it.
I know we are really going to enjoy it. It's just awesome. We are just thrilled.
Absolutely. We look forward to Luke having lots of many happy hours, and thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Karen. This has been such a satisfying project. It's really made me want to be a little child again running around on this jungle gym. But of course, we can't always have what we want. So until next time, join us again on another Designer Garden.
Designer Garden was proudly brought to you by Wonder and Effecto.